Good afternoon. I'm going to be creating a session about how to take attendance in SIS, as well as seeing other student data and address specific IAS questions about taking attendance. I'm going to be using a training account just like I did in the gradebook sessions, which will show fake data. When I first log in, I see a list of classes that are available to me. I'm going to click the Teach or Tech and Engineering Explorers class. The next window that appears for me is the Acknowledge Adds and Drops. You likely will see this quite a bit throughout the school year, and you simply need to click the OK button to say that yes, they are coming and yes, they are leaving. When we first arrive on the home page, this attendance yellow box is most prominent. When we hover over that, we can either view the chart or we can look at the list. I'm going to click on the list, and now you will see where you take attendance. I don't know if you can see the colors of the boxes very well, but Friday 4th column is the only date that you can take attendance, so only on that particular day. However, as you can see here, you can go back and forward to see what the attendance is. Well, going forward is if you'd already gone back, or if you want to just see the days that might be coming up for the student. We will only be doing daily attendance in IAS, so even at our sites that are concurrent sites and have period attendance, we will only be doing daily attendance. Linda has been working very hard with IT to create sections that are called homeroom and that do not have grading attached. And they will be at the 2.5 hour sites. You will have a homeroom and a homeroom PM, and same with the concurrent sites. She currently has one teacher attached to those sections, and again is working very hard with IT to have a second teacher attached to those sections as well. So again, back to taking attendance. Next to Alan's name, I click on the box. My first option is unverified, so what that means to you is the student is not present. If I click on it again, it is an unexcused tardy. If I click on it again, it's an excused tardy. And when I click it again and there's nothing in the box, that means they are present. If you have made this an unverified, that means the student is not present that day, and Nikki is the only one that can change that to a verified absence or leave it as an unverified absence. So when she arrives at work, she checks her attendance line and she makes any changes. Again, she's the only one that can do that. So you simply check in the box or click on the box until you get the attendance that you want, and then you can say save and return. And you can do that all day long as necessary, and then after the school day is complete, Nikki is the only one that can make those changes. And she requests that attendance is completed by 1 o'clock. As we get going in the school year, if that needs to be a conversation to have it modified, then of course we can have that conversation. I'm going to hover to the left here, and you can see that this is for charts. You can add a grid, and you can also add a free form, and this might be a little more applicable to base schools with large classes and a little more traditional seating and students not moving around as much. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I want you to at least see what it is capable of. So it defaults to this row look of 6 students and the front of the room, and for some people who are very visual and they see the front of the room at the top of the page, then that works, but you also can change it and move it around. So I'm going to click the edit button and show you how you can modify these charts. So down on the bottom right, you can change the front of the classroom. Again, if somebody is extremely visual, that might be of help to them. You can, on the right hand side, change how it's sorted. You can always put it in alpha sorted. You can change the name format. You can add more lines of data. And you can always change the size of the boxes with the names in it. And then at the bottom you have unassigned students. So as soon as a student is added into your class, you can have fill random, fill alpha. So as soon as a student is in, if you have fill alpha, they'll go right to the top, the first spot. Okay, so what you can see is some students, I'm going to go ahead and show you what some of these icons are. So by clicking on IEP, you can see that a student has an active IEP. That's what that icon means, and I will show you where you can go to see the actual IEP. By clicking on the red cross, you can see a health condition exists, and the healthcare plan exists as well. The nurses at the base schools are the one that add those. At the top, if you hover over home, you can also change classes from here. So you could go back to seating chart, you can change the class, you could go to the current class. And I'm going to go ahead and change the class back to this one here. I am going to show you what it looks like when you click on a box with the student's name. And you will have pictures for your students unless they've completed an opt-out form. Okay, by clicking on the box with the student's name, you now have a new window, and there are 6 pieces of information you can look here. So we're going to work through these. By clicking on student, you have a new window that opens that has demographic information about the student, parent, guardian, emergency, and so on. So if you're curious about custody, or you're curious about who has access to certain information, that would be a place you can see it. The period attendance does not apply to us because we have daily attendance. By clicking on health, this is where you can see information if there is a health condition. Student view. If you recall in the gradebook trainings, I was telling you that there is no actual student view. By clicking on this, what you're actually seeing is what the parents see. And at the top, it even says parent view. So the only additional information that parents see that is not visible to you as the teacher is discipline. But other than that, you can see everything that they see. And there's going to be a lot of you have no messages. This calendar, the information that gets populated in this calendar comes from the gradebook. So when you enter an assignment, unless you say don't show in parent portal, it appears on here. Attendance is here as well. Class schedule, so these are all the classes that the student is enrolled in along with the teacher. Course history, gradebook. Here up at the top is where you can see that the parent can navigate and change from interim to quarter. You can see across the row here all the way down to grades on the right hand side. When you click on the health tab, you can see any health conditions that the student might have. By clicking on the report card tab, You have the window that shows any report card grades. You can see up here that you can change between interims and quarters just like you can in the gradebook. Then the last tab is student information, and this is some of the demographic information on the student and some in case of emergency information, physician information. If a student or a parent informs the site or the teacher at the site that they will be absent for the day, that information does need to be communicated to Nikki. Actually, it's either tardy or absent, or if they're going to be leaving early. She needs to find out that information, and then she's the one that can verify it. So make sure you do share that information, and we are aware that in IAS sometimes that does occur. And that is it for the moment on taking attendance and seeing some of the student information that is available to you.